Feels bad, man. That ending feels so bad. The Gnosia gave up. Wow, I wasn't really expecting that. I mean, it makes sense. He did realize that, checkmate, you got me. Setsu figured it out, and I could take out Setsu, but Yuri is, like, with you. You've both got it figured out. I could take out one of you, but in the end, the result is the same. And they gave up. The Gnosia, in the end, gave up, knowing full well they lost the game, which does sort of blow open this whole door about the expectation of what the Gnosia is. I love that. Episode 1, our perspective as the Gnosia is evil. They want to kill all humans. They want to take them over, and they're vicious killing machines. What they are. I mean, they're killing people. But this is sort of, again, sort of unraveling that expectation for them more and more, that it seems like they're more about just survival. He said it. He said it. He literally said, I used to think of just eating and surviving, and that's pretty much it. But now I want to become this cat. I want to become what this person wanted to become. He wanted to become a cat. And when I took over this body, that desire went into me. It does sort of, again, paint the picture that the Gnosia infect the human, become, the human themselves. They take over the host, but then they get all the desires. It's not about killing humans. It's never been about killing humans. Just like the Setsu one that was informing Yuri about all the stuff about this key. Why would she do that? It expands it so much more into something so much more empathetic. Like, I empathize these characters now. I see them as not just inherently evil. It's really interesting. Again, that fact that he gave up, he literally could try to kill them right there and then, probably lose. It implies the idea they have to wait until it's a one-on-one situation or a two-on-two situation. They can't be outnumbered, so it seems like they're not, like, all-powerful. But at least it kind of shows the idea that they're willing to give up because they lost. They're not a killing machine, just about survival. It's so cool. But yeah, I have to mention, the ending was still technically really good because, yes, this new character that pops up is Kendra Suda. Heard his voice, him sitting out there. My Kendra Suda's joined the cast, dude. I got to hear that sweet Kendra Suda voice. For those that don't know, haven't been following this channel for a while, he's my man crush. Like, he's the only guy that I would ever say he's a man crush. His voice is so freaking fantastic. But yes, let's get into the episode proper. A lot of cool stuff in here to get into. But yes, opening up the episode with meeting Comet and Chippy, which, yes, love Comet's design. Chef kiss. I love the oob. I'm sorry. I love the oob. And the skin tat thing, it's all right. Even though it is sort of, yes, we find out it's a slime that you can't touch, otherwise it'll swallow you up and kill you. And yes, this Chippy having a cat sticking through his neck, which we find out more about that later on. But yes, we go to the first meeting where we find out that we have 2 Gnosia and 2 engineers. Call this right off the bat. Well, we had essentially Stella called out that she was an engineer, but also Yuriko. Now, that was the big kind of tipping point for me because, yes, you could sort of see inconsistencies in how people respond to situations. What happened the last time that Yuriko was an engineer? She didn't say that she was an engineer. So the moment that she spoke up saying she was an engineer, I'm like, no, that's her. That's a Gnosia. That's a Gnosia. I love that you can sort of spot these inconsistencies and sort of call them out. And sure enough, we'll find out later on that she was, in fact, yes, a Gnosia. But I do like what Rashio brings up here in the idea that, yes, it's great that you know that at least one of these 2 individuals is going to be a Gnosia, but you can't just take out one of them just for that 50-50 chance, because in the end, you won't even know. Because if the Gnosia isn't picked, they can then claim they use their engineer powers in order to find another Gnosia, and that person could end up being a human. It's not an easy win there. Either way, it's a double-edged blade, whether you're going to get the right person or not. Basically, by sort of claiming that you figured it out, you're going to create further confusion by the Gnosia surviving. So, in the end, apparently they decided to go after Gina because she didn't say much, which opens the door to this idea when Chippy kind of brings it up. This is bad. Yes, that while, speaking a lot does put a lot of suspicion on you, it also does mean that you don't talk a lot. You're going to have suspicion put on you. So you're damn if you do, damn if you don't. Which is funny to, like, the earlier episode, which was all about, like, Yuri keeping his mouth shut and not really speaking up much. But yes, that leads into the scene at the gym, which we get to learn more about Chippy and Comet, which, yes, Chippy apparently is trying to turn into a cat. Which was weird. Apparently, yes, he helped out Comet as a stowaway, and Comet in return helped him find a surgeon who could help him essentially become a cat. I'm guessing what they're implying here is that it's a process, that he has to get used to the body first before he actually becomes the cat. And he's always wanted to become a cat because he's always been around cats. And apparently, cats seemingly are rare, or at least only the high-end people get to have cats. So that kind of implies the idea that he used to be maybe in a rich area or something like that. But it implies the idea that he can't immediately become the cat, so he has to, like, kind of work with the body first, get used to it first. And so it's been fused through his neck. And then the cat can, like, extend itself. He, like, gets on the treadmill, the cat's running off the side with his extended neck going to his neck, and it's just like, what is this contraption? What are we doing? Again, it sort of implies that he's sort of stuck in this middle area where he wants to become the cat, but he's not the cat yet, but he's got the surgery to connect to the cat. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what they're doing there. Does it imply that he's connected to it in a way that he can feel it? He has a senses of it or something like that, and eventually he's going to put his brain inside the cat? I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, besides him, yes, we learned about Comet and the idea that she's a stowaway because she's trying to get away from her home planet, which they're not normally supposed to leave, which was a very interesting story in the idea that she comes out there just completely, not technically fully naked, but she's coming out there with nothing on except for the slime. And apparently the slime that's on her skin is this slime from their planet, that this planet normally you're not able to survive very long, but I guess they leave them on their own when they're very young so that the slimes like consume them, and then it can just wear them like skin, where normally the slime will consume people. Like he even tells Yuri, don't touch it. It was a little weird. It kind of has that whole mentality of the lion throwing the cub off the edge, and if it climbs back up, it survives or something like that. It kind of plays out that way with the children of this particular planet that she's from. Why they're not allowed to leave the planet, that's the question mark, and that could just be the idea that she is technically wearing something of that ecosystem, and thus leaving that ecosystem, it could infect another ecosystem. Like whenever you get on a flight, they check to see if you have, any animals or insects with you, or you're going to another state, they'll check to see that you're not, transporting plants or something like that. That's what I'm assuming. That's why she wasn't able to leave. But apparently she wants to become a space captain, so it's weird. It's all weird. But as they're parting ways, Comet does call out to Yuri, saying that he's fuzzy, that there's something off about him, that he looks like a liar, something like that. Which implies to me that she's really good at reading people or something, and that she's seen that Yuri is, hiding something, which I could see that. I don't know that she would have some sort of innate ability. It could be the slime itself is able to read something within him, be able to maybe detect the life form that's within him now. I don't know. Or it could just be the fact that he's just not being very clear, that she can see that he's putting on masks, that he knows a lot more than he's putting on. That could be. I don't know. Anywho, warp time, and Rasha dead. Rasha survived the first vote, but croaks that night. I think that's what typically happens too, doesn't it? Whenever Rasha survives the vote, I think he always dies the next night, if I remember correctly. Anyways, yes, that's when we get the reports from each individual. We also had Setsu report that she's a doctor. So we are adding the doctor element to the whole situation, which I do like the idea of the doctor. It's basically the same as the engineer. The idea that it's like, you don't know if the person that's assigned is a Gnosia, so you can't tell if they're true or not, but they can essentially check a frozen person to see if they are, in fact, a Gnosia. And yes, Gina was, in fact, a human, according to her, if we believe that Setsu is not a Gnosia. So that means that, yes, their last one was incorrect, but does open the door for them to know that we still have two Gnosias. And we're still dealing with the situation that there's two engineers. Which this was actually really cool, because again, I already had the suspicion that it was going to be Yuriko. I knew for a fact it was going to be Yuriko. The thing that kind of threw me off a little bit was technically Stella's choice. Because Yuriko says right off the bat, it's Setsu. Setsu is human. I checked Setsu, she's good. Which, yes, I love how Yuri picks up on that later in the idea of, oh, you just picked Setsu because we all knew that she's human. Thus, it doesn't put any suspicion on you. Again, it goes that idea of the moment you call somebody else out, the moment you're trying to point to somebody else and throw blame, that brings blame upon yourself. It's technically getting more in the idea of you're creating enemies. And Yuri, in the end, is going to side with Stella because she is, for the sake of the group, creating enemies. A Gnosia is not going to do that. A Gnosia is not going to call people out and bring suspicion upon themselves, create enemies because they're calling them out, versus Yuriko, who's playing it safe. But again, I was already calling Yuriko because last time she was an engineer, she didn't tell anybody. She kept it a secret. This time, she's just playing it safe by saying Setsu's human. Stella was interesting, though, Because Stella says that she checked Chippy. And yeah, that's an oddity there. Like, even Yuri questions it. Why would you check him of all people? Well, I couldn't check Yuriko because Yuriko, nobody would believe me. If I came back here and said I used the engineering powers and found out that Yuriko is a Gnosia, it would just be me basically trying to claim my own innocence, which is already up in question mark. But I wanted to believe that it wasn't going to be him. I wanted to believe that Stella was wrong because she said something to the effect that it was fuzzy or something like that. And I thought that could possibly be because he's technically right now fusing with a cat. So I thought in this brief moment, okay, this is going to be like a sign that things are kind of off. The reading doesn't quite work with him because he's technically part cat right now. Either way, though, I did like this whole scene because it is sort of showing that Yuri is finally stepping up. He's finally realizing that keeping quiet is only going to bring suspicion upon him. He's not going to learn about anything. And yes, like we had that whole conversation with Setsu, the Gnosia, you have to survive as long as possible to get as much information as possible. So he finally is stepping up, and he's throwing a lot of really good logic out there. And again, how he sort of takes down Yuriko was really awesome. Which, yes, they get to the vote, and sure enough, they vote out Yuriko, and immediately she says, insignificant humans. I'm like, okay, guess it's right. Guess he called that one right. She immediately doesn't like it. Interesting what she says, though. When they go to freeze her, she says, you. They say this is a vast universe. There's endless worlds and endless possibilities. Perhaps another version of you and another me will meet again. Have a feeling that may happen. Again, I think that goes to the idea of the whole, like, Shrine Maiden of the ships. I think she does technically see something in him. When we see that when they first met, that first episode, which I think was last episode, she literally confronted him and said that there's something there that he's not seeing yet or something like that. And again, I kind of think that might possibly be the key, but it could be something else. It could be the idea of Yuri being Gno or something like that. I like the fact that Setsu does ask him, like, why don't you just tell us if you're the Gnosia or not? Just make it easy for us. Again, because right here, Setsu knows. Again, checkmate. Right when they walk out the door, they say checkmate. She knows. So just say it. Just say it. But no, they walk out and they run into Chippy, and again, he points out that he is, in fact, the Gnosia. I didn't want it to be. Again, I was really hoping that it would be the cat being fused, create that sort of anomaly there, and that it'll end up being somebody else. But I guess at that point, who else would it be? I mean, it could be Comet. Stella, at this point, is presumed to be human. So, yeah. But again, really cool scene here. I like this. Again, humanizing the Gnosia and the idea that he's like, yeah, I could technically kill Setsu tonight, but Yuri's figured out too. The two of you know it's me. You know, based on the fact that Stella's been confirmed as being human, that she called me out, and that I am in fact going to be the Gnosia. And so he basically just surrenders, says he won, and goes over there and freezes himself. But again, I do like the idea of him sort of pointing out that it's all about survival for them, but yet becoming this individual, they now have sort of the desires for the individual. And even apologizes to the cat. Sorry to get you caught up in this. He knows that based on this, he's going to have to get the cat involved. Now, the cat has red eyes as well, so which makes me kind of think that they're all one entity. But again, it is sort of him seeing this as an extension of himself. This is me. This is what I was going to become. I wanted to become a cat. Again, it's really cool. It's really cool. But yeah, again, goes get himself frozen, says not to apologize. And yes, the cat says to do your best. Before we come to the next loop where somebody's running off to the VR room, the virtual reality room, and there's two individuals there just sitting in the middle of the grass when they're supposed to be at the main control room. Like they're skipping out on the meeting, question mark? I don't know. But yeah, like I said before, I heard the voice of the guy and I'm like, oh, this is my Kendra Suda. Love that voice. I'm going to love the next episode hearing him. Oh, I hope he's not the Gnosia. I mean, technically I do want him to be Gnosia because Kendra Suda's voice, he's got some good ranges. I would love to hear him all twisted. Anyways, overall, really fantastic episode. Really loved it. Looking forward to more. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did hit the like button down below, like this content you want to support more, become a member of the channel. Until next time, I'll take care.